what the trailer advertised to me was a classic locked door mystery. We are stuck in this environment, and we're going to use all of the pieces of this environment to get through what seems like an impossible scenario. Where the was that movie? Where the was that movie? Because that movie I wanted to see. YUNKJunk!
What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolks out there in the mother-loving geek nation? Welcome to the Lady Raven's Cult Pop Podcast, episode 88, a show where we talk about Lady Raven, afternoon concerts of Lady Raven, and all the other thing that scratch your nerdy Lady Raven itches.
Yeah, big fans.
Nailed it.
It's a Lady Raven fan cast.
We're coming to you live from YUNKJunk HQ, a bomb-ass podcast production space located in Philadelphia, PA. I am your host, Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 107. Rad-ass comic shop where you come give me your money. With me tonight to talk is Alice.
Guess who it is?
And Noel.
Who?
Someone's already in the chat. Hello, it is a pleasure to connect with someone who loves games. Are you in? My Discord username is Glorious091.
Probably shouldn't have read that.
Hey, but how come if your Discord username is Glorious091, how come it says Glorio_82? I'm confused.
You know what? Don't answer the question. Don't worry about it.
Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan.
Oh,
Dylan.
Whoa, wait, Dylan. Are you Glorio82?
I'll never tell.
Oh, you
That's my M. Night Shyamalan
sneaky
twist.
Son of a bitch.
He's Glory Hole 82. Dylan, if anyone that's watching or listening wants to know more about YUNKJunk HQ, the space and services, where can they inquire?
They can inquire at the email that they see at the bottom of the screen from this lovely lower third made by JD so kindly. And you can email me at dylan@yunkjunk.com, spelled right down there. You can't miss it. And come and make some podcasts with us. It's a lot of fun. These guys can attest.
Yeah,
I will attest.
Because one, the world needs more podcasts.
That's true.
You have a voice.
No, we can just make a podcast.
Number 3.
I was told I have a face for radio.
I was told that I should stay indoors.
Before we jump into, what were you told?
My first podcast was very intentionally not recording my face and images of myself.
You weren't even recording.
I was just talking out loud in my apartment and was like, wow, people love me. Everyone thinks I'm hilarious.
Everyone's applauding. Before we jump into tonight's show, we want to thank you for joining us. If you're here with us live, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, ring the little bell notification, Jimmy John. Also, we love a little back and forth, so email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. We have one of those.
Oh yeah, we have a letter. Also too, if you're watching us live, I didn't fix this in the notes. We're talking about Trap tonight. That's our main review.
Yeah.
And after that, we are going to rank our Shyamalans. So if you want to participate, start thinking about it now.
Your top five M. Night Shyamalan Johns. I'm sorry, experiences.
Top 5 M. Night Shyamalan experiences, not television. And then maybe your least favorite.
I'm going to preface this with saying I'm going to talk about my top 5 later. I have only seen 6 M. Night Shyamalan movies, so do not judge my top 5.
If anything, it was easier for you.
It was easier for me, but I don't want people to be like, that one's in your top 5. Be like, it was a very short list for me to choose from.
Last Airbender.
It's all
Last Airbender.
It's all Airbender.
After Earth, Last Airbender.
So we got an email from Christopher Saint Sauce. Good night. Nailed it. He wants to know who or what would be your Void team. Now,
what's a Void?
I'll tell you what a Void is. If you were with us last week for our Deadpool Wolverine review, spoiler alert, the nonsense review.
Oh God, don't say that word.
People were so mad at us because of the clip that Dylan made where people thought we hated the movie, even though we were ejaculating all over the movie the entire time.
You were docking.
Gross.
You even said
That's true, we were docking.
2, I wasn't here, and I also think it was nonsense.
It was nonsense, but in a good way.
But nonsense isn't bad. I mean, what's not nonsensical about, hey, disparate IP stuck in a fantasy void? That's fucking nonsense. Yeah. Everyone stop being so precious. Yes. It's stupid, but stupid is fun. Stupid is great.
I loved it.
Nonsense doesn't isn't devoid of competency, emotionality, excellent acting, fun action.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. It's fine.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I love nonsense.
Anywhomst. So, void. So in that movie, there is a void, a nether realms where people who have been forgotten have been sort of plopped. And they've been pruned and plopped into the void. So Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight wants to know, who would we pick?
Who's your void team?
Who's your void team? Now I think we each, hey, Eddie Madison, howdy y'all, he says. Eddie, who's going to be your void team? Let us know. I think we all picked different, went down different avenues for this.
I corrected my error. Okay. I misunderstood the question.
How do you want to do this? You, then me?
I'll go.
Okay, you go.
I understood the assignment as in the comic book media space, who would be pruned in this void.
Yeah.
So I went with, I think, an incredibly holistic team of 3. First one, with a bullet, Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider.
Nice.
1000%. That's a good choice.
I dare say there's going to be no better choice in this conversation. So there, Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider. Second choice, slightly controversial, Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider.
Oh, I love Robbie Reyes.
Excellent. And that was like the best season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The actor is great. Gabriel Luna, I think his name is. Awesome. 2 Ghost Riders. And in this Ghost Rider sandwich,
who's the meat?
Netflix Luke Cage.
Oh, nice.
So I've got Hellfire and I've got Unbreakable Super Strength.
Love it.
We're in. I can't think of anything I can't do other than swim.
He's very heavy.
Either both, right? Like all 3 of them might be problematic in if there's a lake or something. Also, if there's no vehicles, kind of fucked.
I have a question.
But, still cool.
In the email, did we say what the Void team was trying to accomplish?
No.
It's
the
just,
Void team.
So I'm trying to just come up with any kind of utilitarian team that's able to just...
That's what I was...
Like,
my team is nonsense.
I feel like my team can
but
win
in a fun way.
Yeah, nonsense.
You know what?
Win in a fight, but also
my team's
lunch.
just nonsense.
You can make lunch too.
I just want to hang out with them.
You bring up a good point.
What's that?
You said if there's no vehicles, they're screwed.
A little bit.
What if Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, gets a piggyback ride from Luke Cage? Does Luke Cage then turn on fire?
No.
Does he ignite?
And no, somebody deep in the weeds can correct me, but I don't think that they could hellfire anything organic. They can't do like a plant and turn it into a hellfire. Like it's
what if it was like a horse on a stick, like a stick horse?
Can they do
classic stick horse?
Classic stick horse.
We have seen a Ghost Rider horse.
Not the food, by the way.
Oh wait,
Alice loves to eat horse on a stick. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the old timey. It's like a horse head on a stick, and you pretend to ride it.
Sure.
Okay.
But then, you know what? I correct myself. We've seen 2 organic Ghost Riders. So like one on a horse in the Old West.
That's true.
And then also the
piggyback ride horse.
Ghost Rider 1 million BC is on a woolly mammoth.
Yeah.
So I guess anything.
Yeah, you could ride a Luke Cage.
My team just got stronger.
Yeah, you're welcome. I helped you out. Who's your void team, Alice?
Okay. Also going with a Netflix choice, Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones, love her.
Straight in every way.
Yep.
Yes.
Except emotionally
broken.
Emotionally available, I would say. Like,
not
gonna label her as broken, just
not
all there.
That's fine. And then specifically Ron Perlman's Hellboy.
Nice.
I'm good with it.
And
another Hellboy?
No.
Is it a Hellboy sandwich?
I steal your idea
Hellboy
with 2 characters and then a Netflix character sandwich. No.
Hellboy sandwich?
No. Thor, Frog of Thunder.
Nice.
Throg.
Now, was the Throg
an amphibian
of Thunder
wielding Mjolnir?
Was he?
He can swim.
Is it? He can.
Was he in the void? Did we ever see him in the Loki show?
He was in Loki. There's
like,
a brief shot of him in Loki.
In a jar underground.
That was going to be my next choice. I don't know if he would count because we see him in a show now. Yeah. But I was originally just going to build a team of people we had seen in the Deadpool Wolverine movie. I thought we were picking from that bunch. And then I was just going to build a team of different reptiles and amphibians. But then I got a little less nonsensical.
It's nonsense. That's the is that that's the Pee-wee's word of the day. That's the Playhouse word of the day. Nonsense.
Mine are, so I'm old. So I went through my childhood to try to figure out like who did I like when I was a kid and just isn't around anymore and has been totally forgotten. Number 1, Remo Williams, star of Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. Spoiler alert, there's no further adventures. The Adventure Begins.
There's novels, I think.
Are there novels?
Yeah.
Is a
does it end or does it?
Just keeps going.
Yeah, in the void.
In the void. There's a PG-13 film from 1985 starring Fred Ward.
Mm-hmm. Kate Mulgrew, Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. He had like superpowers somehow.
Nope. He was a cop that was left for dead, and he woke up in a coma and then was enlisted to become like a superhero.
Yeah.
All it was, he had no powers. It was just intense training to be like ninja awesome.
I remember a magic Asian man who would teach him how to do things like run on wet cement.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it, right?
Yeah. Just to hone your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Balance on a whole kind of shit.
Oh, Kate Mulgrew.
Is it weird that now I want to try
bullets.
running?
It also has one of the best scores.
Ooh.
Does it?
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. It's the same guy that I think does the score for The Last Starfighter, and they are both wildly similar in so much as you just copy your homework. But anyway, they're both great. Yeah.
My next one is The Greatest American Hero, which was a television show. It was a sci-fi. Sci-fi, is it really? It was 3 seasons in 1981. How's it go?
I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. Starring William Catt, Robert Culp, and some other people. Billy Cat.
All I remember about this dude is that he got a super suit. Where is my super suit? He got a super suit from Aliens, and he could never land.
Well, it
was always like a big gag of like,
I don't remember.
He can't land. He just like rolls into shit.
I don't like the suit has the powers and he puts it on, but either the manual is destroyed and or not with the suit, so he has no idea how to function it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's the
Didn't
ongoing
come with
gag for the
instructions.
whole show. Super suit doesn't come with instructions from Aliens.
Went on a road trip through the desert. Mild-mannered high school teacher Ralph Hinckley is greeted by extraterrestrials who present him with an extraordinary red flying suit that imbues him with uncanny powers. Learning of the suit, high-strung FBI agent Bill Maxwell convinces Ralph to help him fight crime. Ralph's girlfriend, attorney Pam Davidson, also knows of his secret life as a superhero. So that's my second one. My third is Andrew Clements from a show called My Secret Identity. Have you ever seen this? No, I know you haven't seen it.
Sounds familiar. Let's see the pad.
Starring Jerry O'Connell.
Oh my God,
yeah.
I love it already.
It was a TV show from 1988 to 1991. Very young. Post
3 seasons, 72 episodes.
Yes. Post The Body, Lean on Me, Jerry O'Connell. He stars in this show. He's just a kid, and in the first episode, he's got all of his comic books hanging on his bedroom wall. I thought that was so cool.
Is it? And then
listen,
the rest of the show is him just going through the comics that are on the wall.
Just page by page.
Yeah.
And then there's a kooky scientist who does experiments in his garage next door, and he winds up, whoopsie, I wandered into your experiment. Now I have superpowers. However, his superpowers suck. So he can't actually fly. He gently floats. And in order to get where he needs to go, he has 2 spray cans, aerosol spray cans, in order to float through the air.
Okay, so
I blame him for the climate crisis.
It's all him. It's all Jerry O'Connell.
I did know this exists. It looks really familiar, but more so than the show itself, I remember Dan Slott sharing this on social media, the opening credits sequence, and saying he would I would adapt the shit out of this. Yeah, like turn it into something.
I loved it when I was a kid. 1988. I was 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved it.
You would lose.
Oh, and then
You would lose.
You would lose the fight.
Oh yeah, no, this is just for like nostalgia.
Nonsense.
This is fun.
Nonsense.
This is fun in the void, not necessarily kind of like.
If I'm in the void, I want to have fun.
I'm just having fun in the void.
I'm going to hang out with you guys, and you guys are going to get help. I'm just going to hang out with you.
Even our teams could probably work together to get something done. You guys are just hanger-ons.
Yeah. We get on your coattails.
Yeah, like oh, we lost another one. Remo was running up the rear.
And the last member of my team is all of the critters from the film Critters from 1986. Horror sci-fi film. There's like how many? 3 or 4 of them?
There are 4 Critters films.
How many critters? A billion?
From part 1?
So many critters.
From part 1, so a bunch of little ones, not the big one from the main course.
Well, in the main course, so in the first one, they're about like this, like bowling ball size, right?
Yeah, about that big.
And then in the second one, they all form a giant ball of critters that roll over people, and then when they roll over you, all that's left is a skeleton.
They eat
See,
you.
now he might have a chance in the void.
Yeah,
I feel like
everybody.
you need a. Wow, what do we call a lot of critter? Like a murder of critters,
right?
A gaggle of critters.
Gaggle of critters.
I'm lousy with critters.
A guffaw of critters.
A critter of critters. I don't know. But yeah, just a lot of them, so they could transform for you. They could ball for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can ball for it.
When
straight balling.
When Cat from
Ball
Secret Identity can't get the shit done. Yeah. Like what are you gonna do? Float? And then the critter's just like.
So Christopher saying saucy good night. I hope that answered your question.
Oh, what are his?
Oh, his were Daisy / Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Magic from New Mutants, played by
Anya Taylor-Joy. Great,
surprisingly
character.
good. I like that movie.
I don't like the
New
movie.
Mutants.
I like a couple pieces of it.
Well, okay, that's fine.
It's not absolute shit all the way through.
There's good bits in it. I loved it.
A good movie.
Polaris from The Gifted. I've never seen that. And then Alex Wilder from Runaways.
I didn't see the show.
I watched the first episode. Spoiler alert: he was a bad guy.
Was he ever a bad guy in the show though? In the comic book, he's a bad guy. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Pink Apocalypse says still waiting on that Buckaroo Banzai sequel.
Where did that come from? Pink.
Maybe Buckaroo is in her Void team.
I want the entire Hong Kong Cavaliers in my Void team. I want Perfect Tommy. I want Buckaroo. And I forgot. I want John Big Boutte. I want John Lithgow's character. It doesn't matter.
I watched that movie once and I hated it. We watched it with the Black Tribbles. It was fun. So anyway, I hope that answered your question. Hey, Cult Poppers, what's poppin'? What happened with you, Alice, this week? What was poppin' with you?
Well, what was poppin' was I watched Hell House, LLC, Origins, The Carmichael Manor.
It's all one title.
It's all one title. There's a colon in there after Origins.
Which number is it?
So this is the 4th movie.
Okay.
And so fun story, I've seen the first Hell House, LLC, and I really liked it. It's a really fun found footage movie. I love a good found footage horror movie.
Yeah, me too.
And so it was cool. It was a lot of fun. And Kos and I were just scrolling through Amazon Prime and we saw this one came out last year. We hadn't seen the second or the third one, but because this one was called Origins, I was like, oh, it's probably a prequel.
That stands to reason.
I watched it. Turns out it takes place present day. I still loved it. I was still able to follow along with the story. It does connect back to the original. Okay. And it's cool. So it's these people go to this place called the Carmichael Manor and they're like ghost hunters or like true crime, like podcasters, and they have their own website. And so they're doing their own footage. And while they're doing their own footage, they find footage in the house, which is what makes it also a prequel.
Is it the footage?
And so it's super interesting to see them cut between the footage of them doing their stuff, but then also the footage that they found.
It's a found footage movie about other people finding footage.
Yes.
Fantastic.
It's very
meta.
Footageception.
Does it ignore the first one or the other two? I know you didn't see 2 or 3. I didn't
see 2 or 3. I think it has aspects of all of them. I was reading more about it afterwards because I was like, there's definitely a few things I missed, but the main thing that happens in, have you seen Hell House?
I saw the first one a million years when it came out.
Yeah. So
but I completely skipped 2 and 3 because I heard they're trash.
It's the same town. Yeah. I skipped 2 and 3.
Not trash.
Garbage.
I skipped 2 and 3 for the same reason. And I was like, oh, this is a prequel. It looks kind of fun. Like, let's give it a shot. I'll probably still watch 2 and 3. It's 3 is also on Prime if you have like Prime to stream, but 2 you have to pay for, which is annoying.
I thought honestly, I saw the first one on Shudder. I thought they were all on Shudder.
They might all be on Shudder, but we ended up rewatching Hell House LLC, the first one, after watching the prequel to be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
That
they
fucking
reference
clown is creepy.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
It's really good. They have some good scares in both the one that I watched, the more recent one, 2023, and the original one. There's some good like quick jump scares.
There's a I don't think it's a problem, but there's something about found footage movies. When one works, it's typically not replicable. Like you can't do the same thing in the same way. It has to be complete. I think that's why Paranormal Activity was pretty solid, but then Paranormal Activity 2 through 17 were like, okay.
I actually liked all of the Paranormal Activities.
That's because you probably wanted to just stick with that one feeling as opposed to something new or a progression.
I have a hot take.
It wasn't a progression.
I have a hot take that everyone will piss on me for.
Book of Shadows was good. Is that what you're saying?
That's my hot take. Yeah. Book of Shadows was, at least Book of Shadows took the Blair Witch Project and did a sequel that wasn't just another found footage Blair Witch Project movie. It was filmed like an actual movie. It had a story, a plot, et cetera, et cetera. And I respected that they went a different route than just being like, how can we just redo Blair Witch again?
I thought it was.
How did you know it was gonna?
I don't know why. That
was awesome.
My spidey sense tingled that you're gonna talk about Blair Witch Book of Shadows. I thought it was a cool ass idea. I've revisited that movie in the last 10 years.
I haven't since the theater. I saw it in the theater.
What I thought was cooler than that, though, was the surprise sequel remake
Blair Witch?
A couple years ago. Blair Witch.
That was surprising.
Because I actually never saw that.
So
it's good.
It was.
It good?
It's.
I don't want to spoil it.
Simon Barrett and Adam Wingard, the guys. They're awesome. The Guest and stuff. They were making.
We were just talking about.
The Guest.
Recording.
That's what we're banking. We're watching The Guest.
We gotta watch The Guest.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, recording live.
We're gonna be live. We're not banking another episode.
Whoa.
I'm gonna have a hat in that episode. Yeah.
A little peek behind the sausage. Go ahead.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
they announced that they co-wrote and are making a movie called The Woods. It was just The Woods. It's a movie called The Woods. It's coming out this October. The Woods. At a film festival like 20 something days before the release of The Woods, it was a surprise. Everyone in attendance, like, it's actually a Blair Witch sequel. And it was a surprise. And then in theaters, all of the posters were switched out of it. Same thing, just Blair Witch instead of
so cool.
The Woods. It was cool. I mean, maybe it would have been maybe it would have been more popular if they advertised that it was a Blair Witch sequel. Yeah. But either way, it was kind of cool. And I thought the movie was pretty solid. It was like it was a direct sequel 20 something years later of a relative.
Okay,
wanting to know what the fuck
it's
happened to
brother or something, right? Looking for his sister. Yeah. That's I knew about that and I was intrigued. I just haven't had a chance to see
it has a pretty wild ending as far as I remember too. It like
people shit on that movie, but I really enjoyed it.
I mean, it doesn't work, but it's such a good swing that I don't hate it. Like, okay. Ooh.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, if you're looking for fun found footage, check out Hell House LLC, and then Origins if you want to skip the other two, like I did.
I have a Hell House LLC a Therathon. This
is actually fun fact.
Foundathon.
This is the
footathon.
Second time.
Footathon.
Yeah.
This is the second time with a horror franchise where I saw the first movie and then the fourth movie.
What's the first again?
First one was Scream. I saw the first movie.
1 and 4?
I saw the first movie because, I mean, the first movie came out when I was 3, so I didn't see it in theaters. And I really loved it. I hadn't seen the other two, but then the fourth one came out when I was in college, so I went with friends to see it on Halloween night. I was dressed as a Ninja Turtle. I was Leonardo. And
That's your favorite turtle?
Yeah, it was 4 of us. Raphael dropped out last minute, so it was me. I was Leonardo. My friend Ashley was...
So classic Raph.
Michelangelo, and then Mikey.
Fucking thinks he's better than the group.
And Brittany was Donatello. And we had a blast. I fully face painted everything, like dressed as turtles. Went and saw this movie, and I had a blast. So then I went back and watched all the other ones, and I was like, oh my god, I already love Scream, and that was my favorite.
Scream 4 is another one that gets shit on. It's so good.
I think revisionist history has taken care of it.
Has it?
Scream
good.
4.
People, I was like, this movie is the best of the Screams after number 1.
Yeah. Well, 3 was so bad.
Yeah.
And 2, the reveal, I just didn't buy the reveal.
1, 4, 5, 263.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
So Pink's in the chat going, sequels never made, aka Remo Williams. That's why she was talking about Buckaroo Banzai. JD, I love you, my friend, but please never say the pink behind the sausage ever again. Now, what I said was a peek behind the sausage, like as opposed to a peek behind the curtain, but also how the sausage is made.
Yeah. So we murder everything here.
Yeah.
So it's the peek behind the sausage curtain.
Oh.
Because you need to know how the curtain was made. I think that's how it goes. Yeah.
Classic.
That makes perfect sense.
Phrase.
Yeah.
All right. Noel.
Yeah.
What was popping for you this week?
I was popping all over the place.
boy.
No. So a new movie. I longed for a time when I was young, and
Don't we all?
There's a new movie dropped on Disney Plus called The Young Woman in the Sea, directed by Joaquin Ronan, starring Daisy Ridley. It is about I forget her first name. Her last name is Ederle. Look it up for me real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Young Woman in the Sea.
Yep. Go for
it is about the 1924, the first woman to ever swim the English Channel. Women weren't allowed to swim in the same. Gertrude Ederle. Women weren't allowed to. It was unladylike to even learn how to swim. They weren't allowed to swim in the same places. There was no Olympic team. They were only like competitive in basements and like boiler pools and stuff. This young girl who survived the measles and has hearing loss is just in love with the water and goes for it. She decides to swim the English Channel, which is something that only few have done and many have died doing, and defied the odds. It is so incredibly well done. This movie's a banger. Like it is.
Nice.
It reminds me of. It made me pissed that this wasn't in theaters for any period of time. I think it was like for like a week special engagement because it is a very pretty looking movie. Yeah. I think the director did like The Whale Rider from like just
never heard of it.
Incredibly beautiful movie. It reminded me of the late 80s, early 90s Disney feel good movies, sports movies. Sure. You know, like everything from Iron Will and Angels in the Outfield and like
I love Angels in the Outfield.
There's no fantastical elements. I'm sorry.
I know, but still.
But the idea of just based on a true story, incredibly wonderful characters doing something difficult
like
to
Miracle?
Change the odds. Miracle is a really good example of that. Yeah, it's that kind of movie. I was interested in it just because I love Daisy Ridley. My wife and I were like, you know what, we need to watch something that is nice.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-hour and 10-minute movie, I think. We were like, well, let's just watch an hour. Blew through it. Both of us riveted, weren't on our phones. It is just a solid fucking movie.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good.
So I had recently watched a movie.
I also love her more now.
I love Daisy Ridley.
Love Daisy
and
Ridley.
also,
so
she just realized she was diagnosed with something.
She's been diagnosed every decade, something new. She's got Graves' disease.
Graves.
She has
That's what it is.
cystic ovaries and something else.
Bunch of stuff. Ugh.
But like the things that she's like in her teens and in her 20s and now in her 30s.
Really?
Yeah.
She's had a whole bunch of stuff.
All of them are progressive to each other. It's not uncommon.
So that sucks. But anyway, Sushan and I had watched a movie that reminds me of that called Naiad, starring Annette Bening and Jodie Foster. And this is a 64-year-old marathon swimmer, Diana Naiad, attempts to become the first person ever to swim from Cuba to Florida. This was awesome. If you're into stuff like this, real life people doing crazy ass shit and succeeding at it, Naiad. It's on Netflix. It's really, really good. I was really excited to see. I love Annette Bening and I love Jodie Foster, and I felt like I hadn't seen them in forever. So it was like a homecoming. I was like, oh, I'm so glad that they're doing stuff again. I'd like to see them.
It was nominated for a bunch of awards too, so that is definitely on the list. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a swimming aficionado, so it didn't really appeal to me, but I love all these actors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would highly recommend Young Woman in the Sea. A bunch of people are jumping in the chat, talking really quickly about Batman Caped Crusader. None of us have had a chance to watch it yet.
It is on my list, though.
Very excited too. So
I can't wait.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about it in coming weeks because I'm definitely going to give some of it a shot.
Yeah.
Even though Penguin is a lady. But besides that,
I hear
JD,
it's
woke. JD, Fuck you. Next topic. No. What have you been up to?
Actually,
popping in the face of danger.
Several things were popping this week. To jump off of we just want something nice. Mm-hmm. So we have a 3-year-old son, and we were watching Dark Matter. Yeah, Dark Matter, Apple Plus show, and he was not paying attention to the television, and so. There was a very surprising, we had no idea was coming, shoot to the head that we did not know was coming. And he happened to look up at the exact moment that happened and started shaking and screaming. He was so scared. So ever since then, I would say maybe over a week ago, we just can't watch anything with real life humans on it on the TV. So we've just been watching cartoons. So I put on like Teen Titans, and some Miyazaki films. Mm-hmm. And we watched Kiki's Delivery Service, which I thought I had seen. Turns out I never saw it. It is so delightful. It is like a nigh perfect children's movie. Everything about that movie is sweet and delightful and funny and charming. Like have you guys seen Kiki's Delivery Service?
No.
Really long time ago. I had a Miyazaki phase in college, and I watched so many, and they're all good, but they kind of blend together, and then a couple bubble to the top.
Kiki's Delivery Service bubbles to the top. Yeah. We also watched Ponyo.
That one I never saw.
Ponyo was adorable. That one sort of it's like a little lower than that.
That was after Spirited Away, and after Spirited Away, I was just like, they're all the same, man.
So we watched those, and speaking of something nice, it was just nice to like be in those worlds, and it's where everything's kind of sweet. But then
something else nice.
But then I watched The First Omen, which is a movie that just came out, directed by
Arkasha Stevenson.
Thank you. And Noel, you also watched it like minutes before we went on air
this afternoon. What did you think of it first?
I loved it. I have watched The Omens 1, 2, 3. When I was growing up.
There's a remake too, right?
And we were just talking about that. With
Alice
Julia
reminded
Stiles?
me of the remake that I saw and forgot about.
By John Moore, I think, whose claim to fame is Die Hard 5 and an Owen Wilson action movie with Gene Hackman called Behind Enemy Lines.
With you right
now.
Was I right? John Moore?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Fuck is wrong with you?
Anyway. I liked the Omen movies well enough. They were like old timey spooky Johns. I remember the third one had Sam Neill, like Damien as an adult becoming a politician or something, like a president.
Makes sense.
Classic Antichrist.
Makes sense.
But then, so this is a prequel to that, The First Omen, and it is about the mother of Damien, which you don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah, it's
unless you pay any attention.
I don't know if it's like I guess it's more about, to me, it's more about the things that needed to occur to even bring Damien into existence. Yes. So it's not just like Lady Preggers with the baby. It's just like more generations of crazy stuff that needed to transpire in order to facilitate a male Antichrist.
Yeah.
Movie's fucking gnarly.
It's so good.
I am mad that I didn't make time to go see this in theaters.
Yeah. Yeah. This would have been. I hear The First Omen and I go,
yeah, I didn't care.
Whatever. I had no idea it was going to be this good.
Nell Tiger Free, the actress,
she's amazing.
Who plays Margaret, the main star. She was also in The Servant.
I served her once when I was a bartender.
What? Oh yeah, because they filmed The Servant here in Philadelphia.
Exactly. Yeah, and then she sat at my bar.
What was her drink?
I
just make something.
Want to say it was like white wine or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boring. She looks like no. Anyway, she's absolutely phenomenal in this movie.
Couldn't believe.
There are things that she's required to do that I don't know if. And I watched all of The Servant, so I thought I knew her range in so much as like there are some really weird, wild things that happen in The Servant to like disassociating crazy body stuff. Not to this level, man.
Yeah, man.
It was like a body horror. I don't understand how this movie was in theaters. This movie is so fucking gnarly. I don't understand how. I don't know why. First of all, it was financially successful.
Was it? Good.
And it was very, very well reviewed.
But it's got like an 80-something on Tomatoes.
Why was there no I feel like the internet didn't talk about it because why are there not GIFs of the crazy shit that happens in the movie? Why are there not like literal think pieces written about how women are treated? How this is an allegory for childbirth and just women in the church.
Yeah.
Like there's so much fucking in this movie. It's so good.
Not so much fucking. There's only a little bit of fucking.
There's a lot of beast fucking.
Yeah.
There is.
If you want to make a Damien, you got to fuck a beast. But yeah, I was really surprised at how good this was. I will rewatch this more than I will rewatch any of the other Omens.
Yeah.
It's not the first Omen. It's the best Omen.
Yeah.
I'll say it.
Highly recommend. So if you're into the Omens, if you like spooky stuff, if you like, I realize I like Catholic horror movies, Christianity horror movies.
Costa does too.
It's the perfect setting.
Costa loves. Okay, Costa.
I like a good exorcism.
So do I.
Any institutional system is the perfect setting for fuckery.
Where a cult does something bad.
Kind of calling Costa out. He's not watching because I know he's at a Quizzo thing right now. But
a Quizzo for CultPop. They're asking him all CultPop based questions at the bar.
He's a huge fan of this podcast trivia. But he loves like church based or like religious based horror.
Big religious freak.
So have you both seen Midnight Mass?
Of course.
The show.
Of course.
Okay. Brilliant. Love that show. Costa, like I came home one day and Costa was just listening to the creepy church songs from it. Like I walk into my apartment and the man I'm going to marry is just sitting there listening to haunting church music.
Yeah.
He's like, I love it. It relaxes me. And I'm like, I'm scared. Yeah. I'm worried.
Awesome. That's not healthy.
But he loves it to that level. He's like, oh my God, I love this song. And I'm
my wife was working, when I watched this afternoon, my wife was working in the kitchen, just like one room away from me playing this movie. And there are so many, like, not necessarily jump scares, just like the sound design of this movie is intense. So it's just like it goes from 0 to 100 very quickly. And then when the movie was over, I didn't turn it off right away. I just let it play. And it was about 3 or 4 minutes until I realized, like, I'm just listening to weird fucking hymnals right now.
Yeah.
That's what I've come always listening to weird hymnals. And I'm like,
and then screaming. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yep.
Oh my God.
And then I saw the devil.
Speaking of Midnight Mass, it goes down in my history as one of the episodes as one of the best cut to black, haunting, gave me chills. I thought about it for a while afterwards.
Stomach,
like end of an episode. Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Oof.
Also,
I imagine you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, of course.
Boat.
Yeah. But that is also like, I love that show in so much as it's a perfect example of, you don't have to write villain dialogue, just pull directly from the Bible.
Yeah. Yep. It's all there.
Oh my God, yeah.
And have them recite it in kind of a monotone threaten, and you're good.
Yep. Throw in some creepy hymnals.
And that's the greatest villain speeches known
of all time.
Yeah.
Also, Bill Nighy was in this.
Yeah.
Was in the first Omen.
And Sonia Braga. Look, this
Where's Sonia Braga from?
Wow. A lot of stuff from the 80s. I didn't realize she was this old now, but you know,
born in 1950.
That's how time works. Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Kiss of the Spider Woman. Yeah. Anyway, highly recommend the first Omen. If you get a chance, go do it. Where did I watch it?
Hulu. It is on Hulu.
Oh yes, yeah, I saw it on Hulu.
Pink says in the chat, David Lynch had a health announcement this week. It's going to affect his filmmaking.
He said he's not retiring.
What was the announcement?
David Lynch announced that he has emphysema. He smokes. He smoked for a million years. Quit 2 years ago.
That sucks.
Still has emphysema and was like, "I'm not retiring."
Yeah, that's classic.
Yeah, that's
Lynch.
David Lynch. Yeah, does he still do the weather every day? And anyway, whatever.
So before we review, we're gonna do that. Should we do it first? Our top five.
That's how I had it in the notes. So we're gonna review Trap, the new M. Night Shyamalan experience, but we're also going to bracket through our top 5.
Okay.
Shyamalan experiences. What should we do first? Trap or?
Let's do our top 5.
We'll do our top 5?
Put it in the chat. Let us know your top 5
Shyamalans.
So we're going to do this bracket style.
Right.
You know how this works. However, this is the first time you've done a bracket with us.
Yeah, but one of my favorite episodes before I was on this podcast was your March Madness bracket, where you talked about comic book movies that were made into.
Not dissimilar. So we will from 5 to 1 each give our answers, but we will not talk about a movie until everyone has mentioned it on their list.
Okay.
Side note, I like when you do this because it seems like you're going to spider crawl onto the table and
Full
eat us.
exorcist.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yes.
like,
But it has to be like
so
really
excited.
jointed. Like I'm ready.
All right, let's start.
Speaking of horror movies, that's one of the scariest things when suddenly somebody moves really quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
sorry.
Yeah.
You should watch The
gives me
Last
chills.
Omen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, the little tiny spider in her eye. Do you
Oh,
remember
I
that?
remember that. What a good close up.
I don't mind spiders. I just don't like eye stuff.
The movie's so beautiful, and so
Yeah.
much is like I could stop stills and just like her spidery hair.
There
and,
is
like, there's
one
so much
scene
fucking
where
cool-
there's candles doing this. It's like a slow pullback, and you can see the candles in the church, and it makes
a
a
mouth.
mouth of teeth around her. It's so
Oh,
It
gorgeous.
is
my
a
God,
beautiful
that's
movie.
sick.
Like
yeah,
A plus.
it's nuts.
A plus.
I wish we were reviewing that tonight
Yeah.
and not Trap. But go on.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Shit.
So we'll start. Dylan's gonna participate as well. So Dylan, I'm gonna start with you, and then we'll go this direction. What is your number 5 Shyamalan film?
Okay. So my number 5 Shyamalan film is
I literally have to have
Split.
Hold off. We're not talking about it yet. Alice,
my number 5, and again, I've only seen 6 Shyamalan movies. The Happening.
we're gonna talk about The Happening because it didn't make anyone else's list.
Okay. Because
Tell me why that is your 5.
because
Of
6 is
6.
The Last Airbender.
Ah, nice. My 11 and 12 are The Happening and then The Last
yeah,
Airbender.
see,
So,
it's because it's the bottom of my list.
What,
It's the bottom
what-
of my short list.
anybody want to talk briefly about the Happening? It's just it's a good concept, but a stupid movie.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically it. I honestly, I don't even know if I finished the entire movie. I know I did try to see it at one point. It came out when I was 15, and I was like, the trailers look awesome.
You weren't
Yeah,
allowed to go to the movie. You weren't allowed
Trailers
to see
were
it.
so
Wasn't
good.
allowed out
You
of
were
the
under
house.
17. How
I-
did you go see rated R movie?
Ooh.
I did have an older boy, so
Okay.
I might have had somebody buy me a ticket.
Anyway, I don't know if I have anything. I don't have anything like nice or bad to
I
say.
don't have. I feel like when I was 15, I did have the complaint that we were talking about. Either like, oh, they're scared of the wind. I now, as an adult with a fully formed frontal lobe, understand that there's more to it than that they were afraid of the wind. The concept is cool. Like
Yeah.
the concept is pretty cool. I just feel like it wasn't.
Yeah, like the Earth's fauna wanting to cull the population because they're ruining the planet. Makes perfect sense.
Great. Baller.
Visualized very weirdly, and the pacing of the movie is just so bad. Everyone is a woodblock of an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just.
I mean, to be fair, they did put what's his nuts in it? Marky Mark and the Funky
I was going
Bunch.
to say Mark Wahlberg's in it.
Say
Yeah.
hello to your mother for me.
Yeah. Hey, goat.
Hey, goat. How you
Mine.
doing?
My number 5 is Knock at the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin. We're not talking about that yet until right now because my
Oh my
number
God.
5 is Knock at the Cabin. We are the only two that have this on our list.
Tell me why.
I think it's 75% of it's a really, really, really compelling movie.
Yeah, thrilling.
Yeah. I think Shyamalan is sometimes at his best when it is very contained and he just lets actors act.
There is some excellent acting in that
That is
movie.
75% of the movie.
Yeah.
Anytime that it moves away from that cabin, it is the stupidest goddamn movie I've ever seen. And it takes away from all of that great effort.
Okay.
My biggest problem with the movie is, anytime they show the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of the movie is that is it a surprise? The concept of the movie, like you have to,
It's like 5 years ago.
a small
4
family
years
has
ago?
to choose to kill one of them. One of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse show up at their cabin and like, yo. One
Here's
of
the
you
thing.
has to one of you has to kill the other one by choice to save the world, and if you don't, the world is gonna explode.
The apocalypse will happen if one of you doesn't die.
It's what we call an allegory. And in the cabin, you don't know if these people are crazy or not. The movie, I think, incorrectly shows you stuff that's happening in the world to tell you what the truth is, which is a choice. But they do it with some of the absolute worst fake news broadcast footage I have ever seen in my
really
entire
bad,
life. It like goes from an incredibly tense movie to like
a day player.
It didn't even look like real news footage. Like it looked like a camcorder that they're like, it's bad. It immediately took me out because I do think that there's an art to B-roll too.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're doing news broadcasts or fake television stuff, that's part of the world you're establishing. It needs to work.
Yeah.
when the whole movie just shuts off to that and a fake CGI wave and like, no.
Yeah.
He just shot his foot with that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the ending though. I never
that has
knew
to do
how it was
with
going to
that
end.
family.
Yeah.
Amazing. Anytime it focused out,
Not so good.
no.
Yeah.
No.
I would say it's like 80% good. I'll give you 5% more.
Yeah. And okay, so we're going on to number 4. Dylan, what is your number 4?
My number 4, although after we talked about it, I don't know if it's this, I don't know, either way, but my number 4 is Signs.
Oh.
Fair enough. We will talk about it later. Number 4, Alice.
Also no kidding. Trap.
We're going to talk about that at length later. So
Yeah.
you are, if this was a normal bracket, we'd talk about it now. You're the only person with it on there.
Yeah.
JD.
Again, only seen 6.
My number 4 is Split.
Let's talk about it.
All right.
I've never seen
I love Professor Xavier.
James McAvoy.
The man has
James
a name.
McAvoy.
Mm-hmm.
I love James McAvoy. And this was one that it is kooky in all the right ways for me. It is so ridiculous when he becomes the Beast and he's crawling along the walls and all that sort of stuff. That movie takes it to a crazy destination that I think we'll talk about later. Trap doesn't quite get to. But this movie is so bonkers that I'm into it. And watching James McAvoy just have a blast acting as like 100 different personalities. He probably does like 7 total, but like the character has 100 personalities within him. And watching him do the switch and everything, it was just fun. I love to watch good acting. Excellent acting. If the movie sucks, I will still turn it on to watch a scene that I think is amazing.
I'm not really.
Pearl.
Yeah.
There's 2 amazing monologues in Pearl that I will just put on.
Pearl is an amazing movie, though. Don't let people twist it into thinking that you don't like Pearl.
Yeah, I like Pearl.
Internet.
It's nonsense.
I don't say that word.
But so I really like this movie. And the fact that there was a huge spoiler at the end that wasn't spoiled for me, I walked out of that movie hyped as hell.
See, I've had that big spoiler you're talking about spoiled for me.
It sucks.
So like I've had less
No
hype
idea.
to go see it, but I do want to see it.
Yeah. Split. I there's a lot of really great sequences in it, but overall, I think it left me a little cold. I like my favorite Shyamalan is when he is emotionally tethered. Like there's a really, really strong emotional theme because all of his movies are basically allegories. And Split was just kind of cool, like a popcorn flick, but it didn't really. Now, everything I'm saying is going to be thrown out of the water when I say what my number 4 is.
Okay.
Which is
Lady in the Water.
Whoa. Lady in the Water is number 10 for me. It's 2 up from the bottom.
It's my 4th out of.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the delta between number 3 and number 4 is about 10,000 miles.
Okay.
But I actually really enjoyed watching Lady in the Water.
Okay. Which was, if I remember, it was based on a story he would tell his daughter.
It's very much a weird yes and kind of thing where it's like the movie is about Paul Giamatti, who is the manager of this Florida. I mean, it feels like
Motel?
Florida. No, it's an apartment complex.
Oh, okay.
With a pool in the middle. That's why it feels like Florida.
Yeah.
And mysteriously a lady shows like a nymph type lady shows up in the water in the pool one night, afraid of these creatures that are after her, like a magical being in a natural setting. And the movie it just kind of works for me. It's very stupid. It's very silly, but it also doesn't take itself seriously at all. And I think that that's missing from 95% of his
very self-serious
overall
director for the usual.
Because even when the movie goes like dumb, there's one character who, for science, he's a very slow person, but for science only wants to work out one half of his body to see what the difference is.
Yeah, I remember that. That's funny.
Such a stupid concept.
Yeah.
However,
I'm gonna start doing.
He takes all these disparate like quirks from characters and the side characters in the movie, and then turns it into like weird allegorical fairy tale kind of concepts for the rest of the movie because they're all a part of this fairy tale. So like they need at one point in the movie they need somebody to do something really strong and it's just him with his good arm, and they need a kid to tell a story, and like it's a fucking fantasy.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little unfairly maligned, even though it's fucking stupid.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the first, I think it was the first movie that he was a main character, not like a side character.
Was he? I don't remember him being that.
He's there's an oracle in the movie, and they think it's a writer who's a movie critic.
Yeah.
And that character gets killed because I think he was working through something with critics.
Yeah.
But the oracle ended up being a small kid, and he was the kid's father, and the kid made predictions by reading the backs of cereal boxes. This is a real movie.
Okay. Cool.
We should all watch it.
Okay.
Yes.
I would revisit it.
It's such a dumb movie. I don't know. It's charming to me. Anyway.
Pink says Unbreakable is at the top of her M. Night Shyamalan list. There's no other movie on the list, apparently.
We will talk about Unbreakable.
Yeah. Kevin says, I heard The Happening is better in black and white as the Silence movie. Pink says it worked for The Mist. Bless you. James McAvoy should have gotten a Best Actor nomination for Split. True.
Let's keep going. Dylan, number 3.
My number 3 is Unbreakable.
Whoop.
Alice, number 3.
The Visit.
Let's talk about The Visit.
Nobody has my
I never saw it. Actually, that's not true. Is this the one where like one of the kids is like a little white kid and he wants to be a rapper?
It's a found footage.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a found footage movie.
I forgot about that part.
I couldn't get through it.
Oh my god, yeah.
I couldn't get
It's a found footage. You're the
movie.
found footage queen. This is podcast.
Yes.
His rapping was so bad. I couldn't turn it off.
It was.
Also,
That's not why I like the movie.
Catherine Hahn's in it.
Catherine Hahn is
Oh, I
in it.
love Catherine Hahn. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I just went into this thinking, I remember I watched it at a friend's house. I was visiting her, and we didn't, I didn't think I was going to like it. She'd already seen it. She's like, I think you're going to dig this. Probably because she knows I love found footage stuff. And I was on the edge of my seat. I liked,
Nice.
I think Pink Apocalypse said they gasped when the plot twist happened. I was the same way. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was Robert Monroe.
The entire audience gasped.
When the real came, the
time.
entire audience gasped at the same time. It was one of my favorite movie theater experiences. See, I wish I saw it in theaters.
There's a big reveal.
A little bit.
Yeah.
There's
a classic plot twist.
It's a solid flick. It really is. Like
the reveal is wild, Robert.
If I didn't know that was an M. Night Shyamalan movie, I wouldn't know the difference. Like it's unlike any of his other movies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because it's very. I think he's better when he's got borders and boundaries.
Yeah.
And it's very like contained and quick and solid and slick. Yeah.
Do you know the premise of
solid movie.
The Visit besides the rapper child?
The two brother and sister go to visit their grandparents
who don't get along with their mom. So that's why the mom's not there.
It's the
mom's parents, and she has a bad relationship.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was the father's parents. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought it was.
The mom's parents. Oh,
is it the mom's?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's the
been
mom's
a long time
parents.
since I've seen
she's like estranged from them, but she wants like her kids to connect with them.
And then they wanted to. They reached out to her.
Yeah,
right?
and so she sent them to go see.
And also, don't come out of your room after 9 o'clock because your grandmother's weird.
Well, that wasn't
in the trailer.
Yeah, like they say that like
she's
like,
got night terror. She sleeps it.
Yeah, she gets a little like demented at night. Like she's early dementia, and like it's cool.
Okay,
and it's interesting to see it through like the mom only knows what's happening because she's only talking to the kids because she doesn't talk to her parents. Yeah, she doesn't talk to her parents, so she's like she's only hearing this through like the kids' eyes, and they're telling, oh, this crazy shit's happening, and she's like, oh, those old people. They're just old people. And they're like, no, this seems weird. And she's like, nah, it's a classic old people stuff. You're fine.
Okay.
It's pretty solid.
I enjoy it.
Of his like 15
movies. Of the 6 movies I've seen, it's top
pretty
3.
Solid.
Okay, all right.
Your number 3.
Signs.
My number 3, Sixth Sense.
Whoa.
We're moving, nothing else to talk about. We're moving on to number 2. Dylan, what is your second?
My second is The Sixth Sense.
Alice, what is your number 2?
Signs.
JD, what's your number 2?
Unbreakable.
Mine's Unbreakable. So let's talk about Unbreakable.
I fucking love Unbreakable. If it wasn't for number 1, obviously this would be my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. It is catnip. It is. It's superheroes, comic books, Philadelphia. Loved it.
We were talking a little bit before the show. Dylan didn't realize like it came out in 2000. This is before X-Men, Spider-Man. This is before comic book movies were even a fucking thing. And we all went to go see like the new movie from the guy from Sixth Sense, and it was a superhero origin story.
Yeah, man. That when that's revealed at the end, when he reveals what all has been going on, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. It's so good.
Yeah, movies. It's definitely top tier.
And the reason, and also I want to say that number 2 and number 1 on my list are docking. They're so close to each other. I love both of them. It could depending on my mood, it could.
Are any of them circumcised? Like is a full.
Well, one's circumcised, the other one's not.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And so one
and also the reason I walked out of Split so like on air on Clouds is because it ties into Unbreakable, which since the year 2000 I've been going, when are we going to get another Unbreakable? Like that's the origin story. Where's the rest of Unbreakable trilogy?
Arguably 2 decades too late.
Yes.
Anyway,
not even arguably.
Yeah. So moving on.
What was your number 2?
Everything you say about Unbreakable?
Unbreakable. Oh, right. You both had
said. It's a masterful movie. It's also, I think, Bruce Willis's best performance in anything. Yeah. I saw it at Spring Hill, the Spring Hill Cinema Square in Auditorium 3 on opening weekend. Movie's fantastic.
It's so good.
I have
all the Alex Ross
Wagner
art
score, like everything.
So good.
Perfect. Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 1.
Let's do number 1s. Dylan.
My number 1 is The Village.
And you're going to talk about it.
All right.
Honestly, I just remember really liking this movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. I just remember liking the vibes of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all. I think I would restructure this list if I had more time to think about it, honestly, because the more we talked about Signs before the show, the more I realized, like, oh yeah, that is a pretty good. Damn good movie.
I don't, and I want to preface this. I'm not saying this as a brag, but when I saw the trailer for The Village, I called the twist immediately. Like I got it from the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with The Sixth Sense. Is the opening scene? I was like, oh, I already know what happens.
Did you really?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you know there was supposed to be a twist, or did you just watch the movie for the first time having no idea and went?
You were a baby. You didn't see it without baggage.
You knew there was a twist, right?
No, I didn't know there was a twist. Actually, I don't think I did. I just remember calling it, just saying like,
he's dead.
Oh well, yeah, exactly. Like I'm pretty sure. Well, he died in the beginning. Oh, this kid's talking to dead people. I bet he's actually dead.
Nice.
I also
spoilers, by the way, for a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
Also,
sorry.
What is her name? Who's in The Village? Bryce Dallas Howard.
Also, is the lady in the water.
Yeah, I love her.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. The Village. That was the first movie of his I saw, and also his fourth movie. It felt like the Emperor had no clothes. Yeah. The movie was constructed, reverse engineered from a twist that didn't necessarily hold water. I feel like these ideas, any kind of creative idea needs to be stress tested. Like, I have a good idea. I should probably figure out how it gets broken and how it can be dismantled before I put it out in the world.
I have a feeling we'll be talking about that again later with our main review.
Basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like you need another voice in there to tell you like, here's how that won't work. So you can like solidify your story more. Mm-hmm. The Village was the first example of like, oh, nobody's in the room telling them that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And it's just so confidently wrong that the movie's vibes. It's got like the first half of it's really, really fun.
Yeah.
The Skeksis looking fucking things and all the characters are really good. Adrian Brody and Joaquin Phoenix are wonderful.
Oh, I forgot he was
William Hurt is wonderful. Like it is a solid fucking movie for a while, and then all of a sudden it just shits the bed for me.
Valid.
I haven't seen it, but I feel like I would like it actually. But I think I might also know the twist for that one.
Alice and JD, what are your number 1s?
Sixth
Sense. I am flabbergasted that The Sixth Sense is not everyone's number 1.
No.
I can't believe it. But I guess if you're Dylan, if you're a mastermind Dylan, and you're like, oh,
when
I know
did this
the
one
twist.
come out?
90?
No, 97.
Yeah.
Okay.
Late 90s.
So I didn't see right when it came out, but I had to have been like pretty young when I saw it, and like absolutely did not see the plot twist coming. When I think of like plot twist, like that was probably like the first real big plot twist I experienced. I was probably like 9 or 10. And I
saw it at the Oakfield Mall in Chicago, packed auditorium, Middle Center.
Nice. I went to the Franklin Mills Mall movie theater, and I took my mom to see it, and we both walked out of that theater with our minds
Brookfield Mall. Sorry,
blown. We couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I saw it with my dad and my brother. Our thing during the summer was always going to the movies on Monday nights, I think, Fridays and or Mondays. And that was the pick because I was obsessed with reading Roger Ebert's reviews.
Oh, cute.
And that phenomenal.
To this day, I think it holds up.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't watched it in a while, solid movie. But it is solid. And I just want to say another reason why I'm biased and really love this movie. As somebody who works in forensics and at a coroner's office, you get a lot of gifts that say, I see dead people on it. I have a few things, and I kind of love them.
Yeah,
I have one thing I bought for myself. Marissa Marie's Market is the artist's name. She made these little buttons, and they were all like little Barbie buttons, and it says, "This Barbie sees dead people," and I'm like, I'm buying.
Awesome. I remember those.
Yeah,
a lot of people had those. Yeah,
I love it.
That's awesome. Yes, Sixth Sense is fantastic, but I actually think Signs is his best movie.
Okay, that's your number one.
That's number 2 for me.
My number one is Signs.
So good.
It was close.
I think
it's my number 3, but
Signs is the peak of his strength, his most competent and successful movie. We were watching clips of it earlier today.
Yeah.
Every single piece of that movie is perfectly put together like a puzzle. The score, the lighting, the editing, the foreshadowing, the flashbacks, the characters, the acting.
The acting, like I remember Joaquin Phoenix as the little brother, was he?
Meryl, yeah.
Meryl, and who's the racist guy name?
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. That was back when I loved Mel Gibson. And I thought he was
movie.
Awesome in that. Like everybody in that movie was great.
When somebody explodes their career in such a nasty fashion, what I had already seen is usually still ensconced.
Yeah.
And
in
what
amber.
comes next, I will not support or don't feel comfortable supporting.
Yeah.
So like the Lethal Weapon movies don't bother me. And this one I think is honestly his best work. Why I think Signs is the best M. Night Shyamalan movie is because it's the most well written and the most well put together. Like Signs of crop circles, got it. But then also it's a movie about faith.
Yeah. Yep.
He's a lapsed pastor because his wife was killed in a car accident. And the way that they reveal information is so confident. It's paced so perfectly. This movie's a masterpiece.
It is.
It is a genre masterpiece. I love Signs so much. But like Sixth Sense is an amazing magic trick.
Rory Culkin's in it. I forgot.
Rory Culkin and Abigail Breslin.
Yeah. I forgot they were both in this.
And I also love Cherry Jones as Officer Paskey.
Yeah.
I love when she pops up and stuff.
This movie, Tracy Merritt Weaver played his. Oh, anyway, sorry. To me, The Sixth Sense is an awesome magic trick that kind of like shocked you in seats and like, oh, I didn't expect that. Signs is Spielberg level fantastic in every way. It doesn't need a twist. It is just
it's just solid all the way through.
Beautiful movie.
That's a good point.
So that's my absolute favorite of his, and honestly, it's a peak he's never revisited.
Yeah,
like because again, we were watching clips beforehand, and I was nerdily going through with Dylan, like, look at this shot, look at this camera angle, the way that they were able to get a fucking dolly and kept the light source and moved it around with the sting of the music. Watching Trapped, where the fuck is that director?
I know. Kevin says, Unbreakable.
That's my 4th favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie out of 6.
Kevin says, Unbreakable is my favorite superhero movie for the longest time.
Yeah.
Pink clarifies, I have an all-time favorite movies list. Unbreakable is on it. No other M. Night movie is. I have no ranked M. Night list. Robert Monroe, Unbreakable, Split and Glass is our trilogy, which happened way too late. Figured out the split to The Village after about 15 minutes.
I forgot worst.
Oh, He's got a good point. Robert Monroe Jr. Science is great, but why would those aliens come to a planet that is mostly water?
So,
good point.
Headcanon. I think it's an empty point, Robert. Headcanon
Now
wise,
you've done it.
First of all, we're assuming in the movie in dialogue they come to the conclusion or they assume that they're harvesting. So it's not a here's my new home. It's a smash and grab. They're literally just coming, grabbing, harvesting, taking people and or resources and bouncing. It is not I'm gonna set up shop. But also that's why the movie takes place in the Midwest, not a coastal town.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It is meant to just be a here we go. And that was kind of reverse engineered from the idea that crop circles happen in the Midwest in cornfields. So no, I don't think that that's. I don't think that that's a plot hole that a lot of people do.
There's a crop circle in this sand. Someone really smoothed out this sand.
Everyone claims that's a plot hole. It's not. Like if they were building homes and stuff. I mean, come on, they're in fucking Pennsylvania. We're good.
All right. Oh, and the worst one?
Oh yeah, what's your worst?
Last Airbender.
Last Airbender.
That I've seen I haven't seen The Last Airbender or The Happening, so my worst is The Visit.
You're
Damn.
number 3.
Roasted.
When I think about Glass, it pisses me off. I fucking hate Glass.
Just the object, not even the movie.
Yeah.
You know what? The movie cuts me deeper
than
Glass.
Damn.
I hated it.
I remember walking out feeling pretty good about it at the time. My opinion of it has soured over the years.
We would have had a 5-minute conversation after the movie and I would have ruined it for you. I'm sorry about that.
Prior to seeing Glass that you might not like it?
No, I was wildly excited.
Because I've had feelings about movies that like I didn't think I was gonna like, and people are like, "You should come see this movie with me," and I've intentionally not gone with them because I'm like, I think I'm gonna ruin it for you because I'm gonna be like super critical about it, and I don't want to ruin your good time. So like that's why I'm not going to this movie with you.
Oh, it is for your own good.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be such a Debbie Downer. I can already tell. I'm gonna be nitpicky about this movie. Don't invite me along.
I didn't even like Split that much, but I was hyped for this because I was like, oh my God, you're world building. You should have done that years ago. Let's go. Yeah. But just the whole third act is an absolute shit show.
I haven't seen any of these.
I think everything that leads up to it is good and interesting. But like the way he wraps up David Dunn's story.
But how he uses Mr. Glass is pretty underwhelming. The entire setting of this asylum is also like, I was going to say it's comic booky, but it is because it is, but it's also so self-serious. I can't have fun with it.
You know, I don't know about that. The reveal at the end of what is actually going on in that asylum and the people who are running it.
Oh, sure.
Felt like, like basically, Hail Hydra.
Oh, I was thinking more like Hellfire Club-ish, but yeah.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's very comic booky.
It was,
in a very silly way.
It was also, that was all revealed after mishandling some of the most basic shit. At that point, I was like, what are you putting a cherry on this shit sundae?
Yeah.
Thanks. Cool. The movie pisses me off. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Let's talk about a better experience. Trap.
Okay.
It is better than, I think Trap is better than Glass.
All right. So Trap, we're going to talk about our sort of overall,
I'm gonna do my Crawley thing.
Our overall thoughts on the movie. And then we will tell you when we're going to get into spoilers. So a father and his teen daughter attend a pop concert only to realize they've entered the center of a dark and sinister event. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan, written by M. Night Shyamalan, starring Manhunk Josh Hartnett, Ariel Donahue, and Salika Shyamalan.
Lady Hunk Haley Mills.
Is Alison Pill a Lady Hunk?
Sure.
Yeah. I think so. I was very excited. I had no idea Alison Pill was in this. So when her name popped up, I was like, ooh, very exciting. And Kid Cudi. Didn't know that. Hey, Noel, why don't you start us off with your overall thoughts on Trap?
Alice's fourth favorite.
Alice's fourth favorite, and notably so. I was actually pretty pumped for this movie. I love Josh Hartnett.
The trailer.
The trailer is
trailer is
fantastic. Cool. I love Josh Hartnett. I'm a Faculty stan.
Oh, I love The Faculty. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Also, Halloween H2O is like top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, top 3 Halloween movies. Maybe. Yeah. So I was down for this. And I think and Knock at the Cabin didn't piss me off. So I was like, okay, maybe this will be great. I'm very excited. I love the idea. I think this movie's a mess. I think it's a cool concept that carries absolutely no water in like the world of the movie. So much so that like I kept trying to come up with like headcanon to make movie work. Mm-hmm. And there's a point, we saw it together. There's a point in the movie where I like, we're in the third act, things are winding down, and I just like hit you on the shoulder. I was like, how the fuck did this even start?
Yep.
Like, how the fuck did this even start?
I believe we said it at the same time.
Yeah, it was like
whole movie.
The whole movie is predicated on an idea, and you are an hour and a half into the hour and 45 minute runtime before it doesn't even need to be. It's just none of it makes sense. Even for silliness, it doesn't make sense. Like, you can poke a hole in absolutely anything, and it's not, the movie's not fun enough for me to forgive that.
Okay.
And I will be real specific in spoilers as to what truly upset me about the movie.
Okay.
What about you guys?
Alice, what are your overall thoughts on Trap?
I went in actually with low expectations. I did really like the trailer, but I was thinking, I thought it was going to be, I did very much enjoy Abigail. I want to say that. But like, I felt like Abigail, like I knew it was going to happen. Like the big plot twist is she's a vampire.
That's because it's in the fucking trailer.
So I thought the big plot twist was going to be like, oh, he's the serial killer. And I'm like, that's in the trailer. So I was like, what else is going to be like that? So like, I was like, oh, there's more to it. So I was like, okay, like I had a fun time. Yeah. Like, it's not a great movie. I'm not going to watch it again. But like, it exceeded my very low expectations.
Okay.
But I also think it was kind of a mess.
Cleared the bar.
Bar was very low. Cleared it. Yeah. I thought it was fun seeing Josh Hartnett in this role.
We'll say it 8 or 9 more times. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's nonsense. No.
He's nonsense.
He is.
Never going to say that again.
He is sense in a nonsense world. Josh
Hartnett. I was very happy to see that he was back.
Also, dreamy as fuck.
Yeah. Like, still looking
honestly.
good.
He's shirtless for the whole third act, and goddamn.
Yeah.
Dude needs to be in more movies.
I didn't understand why, but
for mess, I guess. I don't know. That's
true.
We don't establish that.
Yeah, that's true for mess. But then, like,
we don't establish any of his prep.
I'm not trying to get him to strip on camera, but just like, why if you he's gonna be thorough, why just the shirt?
None of his prep or system is established. It's just like, okay, I guess he's taking his shirt off now. He worked out for a reason.
I mean,
this was it.
Hey, if I looked like that, I'd do it too.
What'd you think?
I went in with high hopes because the trailer got me hyped. I thought that the trailer really did a good job of getting me excited for this movie, which, you know, M. Night Shyamalan, his track record for me is kind of half and half at this point. But I was really excited going into it. And I didn't dislike it as much as you did.
Sure.
I'm a hater. I do think that it is,
he says proudly,
a little silly enough that it gets away with a couple of its decisions and its explanations. I think it's kind of in
spurts. Yeah, I could see that.
It's kind of in the Unbreakable / Split realm for me. It was like, it's a little hyper, like it doesn't exist in a real world. Nobody talks like that. Nobody makes those decisions in the real world, much like probably like maybe Split, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I actually had a pretty good time with it. That being said, there are a lot of problems that I saw and clocked as they were happening, but then I was just kind of like having a fun time anyway. I will say there is a big difference between Hitchcocking your way into your own movies and then writing an entire film around the fact that your daughter wants to be a pop star.
We're going to dig into that in spoilers more so.
Maybe that's a little negative on my part. Maybe that's not what happened. very much feels like what happened. And I don't want to spoil, we'll get into in spoilers, but I think it gets even worse as it goes. But that being said, it's not, where do I have it? I have it in my 7 of 12.
Hey?
Lady in the Water is better.
I disagree.
Lady in the Water is more imagination.
You know,
it's imaginative.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, nonsense, not great movie. I love it.
I love Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I love it because of Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's chemistry in that movie.
Sure.
I will watch it just for watching them. And also, I couldn't believe they did that.
Yeah.
Did Josh Hartnett have chemistry with anyone?
Himself.
The camera. Every time it was really close up in his face, he was looking me in the eye.
And also, I counted 434,000 POV shots where someone is staring directly into the camera, talking to the audience.
It's a very down the barrel.
And he doesn't blink.
Yeah. God, I mean, like so many characters do it. Anyway.
I know. It's like while they're having a conversation with each other. So it'll shoot from like this guy, really close POV, this guy.
When I feel that the movie was not silly enough to be fun, I think it's tonally messy.
Yes.
Very fucked.
Yes.
Josh Hartnett is in a different movie than that Mother is in a different movie than
I think
Friend.
that Mother's in the same movie as Josh Hartnett. It is so over the top and silly.
Every interaction he has is like code switched from I'm in almost parody level fun 60s style Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a cat and mouse thriller.
Yeah.
And then like it does not fucking decide what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And it tonally doesn't let me like hold on to any of them.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like that. And honestly, I don't think the movie's smart enough to be either.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't push back on that.
Can we get into spoilers?
Let's get into spoilers. Hey, if you guys have seen Trap, put it in the chat. Let us know what you thought of it. Pink says, Debbie Downer, I did not care for Twisters. They went the soundtrack route and shoved your face in it every 15 minutes to tell you how to feel. And this is coming from someone country music friendly.
Yeah, Pink, I completely agree. If we're comparing how the original Twister dealt with music, diegetic and not, versus this one, completely agree. Yeah. Did you guys end up seeing Twisters?
I haven't yet. I was saying.
I want to.
You haven't seen it? It's so adorable. Sorry. I think it's an adorable movie. But anyway.
Carlos from Tasmania says hi. Hey, Carl.
Carl Tasmania.
Right. Spoilers. Let's get right into spoilers.
Chomping at the bit.
If you're going to put your daughter in a movie, and have her be the pop star and have way too many scenes where you're just watching the
shaking,
where you're just watching the concert.
Are you like this
on stage?
I'm gonna crawl up the fucking roof.
And then make her one of the main characters at the end of the movie who like takes down the serial killer. Get the fuck out of here.
But you know what? As dumb as that was when the movie finally became interesting. Even though it sucked. Okay, so everyone mentioned the trailer because the trailer is fantastic. What the trailer advertised to me, and I don't need to be handheld. I don't need for it to be exactly what I expect. I just need it to make fucking sense. What the trailer advertised to me was a classic locked door mystery. We are stuck in this environment and we're going to use all of the pieces of this environment to get through what seems like an impossible scenario. Where the fuck was that movie? Where the fuck was that movie? Because that movie I wanted to see. That movie I wanted to see.
The only scene that does that is the scene that's in the trailer with the boiling oil.
Yeah.
There's sequences in this movie where they'll introduce something and then just never do anything with it. I am like positive. I'm fucking apoplectic in anger with the idea of let's introduce an electronic trap door contraption in the middle of the auditorium to see in detail how it functions, what it's capable of doing, and then spend camera time on it to never fucking do a goddamn thing with it. And
except
you had
say, hey, let's go down there.
Yeah.
And then
you had no problem with it because you were like,
wouldn't it be crispy if we went down there?
He tried to get his daughter to do it.
She's like, Dad, you're being weird.
You're being weird. that is like story structure wise, that is we're introducing something for you to understand, remember later, and then we'll bring it back.
Trapdoor.
It is never touched or mentioned again, and that is just like the movie in a nutshell. We have an amazing setup, stupid but amazing setup.
Yeah.
And we
I'm fine with stupid, just like I'm fine with nonsense.
Yeah.
Why?
I love stupid nonsense.
I love stupid nonsense.
So I thought for 90% of the movie, I thought they did the whole concert for him, that, because
that's what they say.
Dialogue in the movie, in the beginning of the movie, like, isn't it so cool that she added an afternoon concert?
But he already had a receipt.
Yeah.
And that's why they did it. Yes, I had the same issue. I was like, why?
So for 90% of the movie, because the movie subtly told me they put this on for him, not he was just going to be there. I'm thinking the whole time, how?
I know.
Yeah.
How?
I was like, how? Yes.
And then when they reveal how, it makes no fucking sense.
It like retcons everything they just said.
It makes my head canon like.
To be fair, they never say that they put this on specifically for him. That is an assumption that we as the viewers make until they tell us.
It's an assumption we the viewers make, knowing just how communal experiences usually occur in regards to at night, or in this instance, why is there a piece of dialogue that tells me they're made this
she
happen?
Added an afternoon show.
Because they do that. They do that on tours. They will add extra nights. They will add extra performances.
A surprise afternoon one. I know it's a nitpick, but it's the kind of nitpick that puts a hole in your whole thing. And okay, it's a honeypot trap. Got it. Why do you see all of the cops everywhere?
Yeah.
Everywhere. And so this was brought up on another podcast, and it didn't even occur to me, but yes, their plan is to interview all 20,000 people individually?
No, just the
3,000 men.
Just the 3,000 men in what? A 2-hour span?
And they're also gonna security background check all the male employees again.
If you remember, there are certain markers that they're looking for. It is a white guy this old. He's got a tattoo. Blah blah blah. Okay, they're not every man.
But they did say other people at the scene. They're like, well, people at the scene either said they saw someone. It was a guy in his 60s, or it was a guy in his 30s with a tattoo, or it was a black guy this age. So I'm like, who were? They have no idea.
Right.
I think of, and like, it's just the concept itself. I think of amazing pieces of genre like Die Hard. I'm stuck in a small place, and I need to figure out little creative ways to get to my goal, including a radio.
Yeah.
And then at first it's learning information, but then it's playing with people.
Yeah.
We see him pick up a radio. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, he got the security tag, learned the code word.
He tries 2 doors, and then all he does is listen. Also, who soliloquies intent over a radio?
See,
like,
that's
what the fuck is happening?
That's another part of this movie that felt like it was being silly.
Yeah.
The profiler who's barking orders to all of the different officers, you go down here and he's going to be doing this, and I know this guy inside and out, even though I've never met him. He's going to try
to start a panic.
Yeah.
He's going to be the only one not
That was silly enough.
So that sequence in the hallway was awesome.
And he's about to hit the thing and he goes, shit.
Yeah, that was
silly
funny.
Fun to me.
That was funny. That was really what, and then his daughter shows up and stuff. A movie of him like keep trying things and they keep failing.
Yeah.
This was long sequences of music. And
I wanted less music, more attempts. More cat and mouse.
I used the space. He doesn't use the space.
I do want to push back on your trapdoor thing. Whereas you thought it was Chekhov's trapdoor and you thought it was going to be coming back later on. To me, I was reading that as a moment of tension of it's open. It's right there.
But I have a kid.
My kid is right here. I could be out of here. But the fact that it also makes a statement about he actually is a good father. He does actually try to tamp down this thing inside of him when he's with his family. There is a dichotomy within him that he is struggling with his entire life. And he really does care about his daughter. he genuinely seems like he's excited for her to be there to see this.
Oh, yeah.
And he's enjoying her enjoyment of it.
Sure.
Mhm.
And as a father, get it. So that sequence where he's watching it lower and he's like, fuck, I can't get in there. And then I never thought I was going to see it again.
I didn't. Yeah, oh, that's fair. I didn't feel that in the moment.
Sure.
It felt.
Yeah.
We're watching a thriller. All of these pieces of a puzzle should like add up to something. Yeah. If it was one scene climax or like a one scene conflict, okay, then it just feels more empty than unused.
I had a problem when he goes up to the roof.
Also.
And then it's fine. Of course, it's going to be covered in SWAT because they're all there searching. He knows that they're searching for him. Why would they not be on the roof? And then
the wallet.
He happens to find
he just so
the
happens
card
to find
he
the
needs
exact thing they're looking for
in the apron.
He stole an apron after
very
blowing
convenient.
Up
this all
oil.
goes back to I don't think this movie is fun enough to forgive those stupid little things.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a playful nature. I think Josh Hartnett tries to be playful, but the movie itself doesn't have like a playful nature for you to just kind of forgive
I feel like it
stuff.
is a little playful between Josh Hartnett and that idiot merch guy.
Oh my God.
And the silly mom who's like making threats.
Who grabs like 2 shirts.
Yeah. He's like, I got to go back and restock. I'll get you one. And then on his way back, he brings like 3 shirts for a giant concert.
I wish I liked this more. I think it's a great concept that somebody else would have done better.
I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about True Romance and how there is a part of me that, so anyone who doesn't know, True Romance was one of the first of 2 scripts that Quentin Tarantino wrote before he got gigs. And he wrote True Romance as well as Mickey and Mallory, Natural Born Killers, both to be his first movie. And so whichever one of those he was going to pick. Neither of those wound up being his first movie. Obviously, it became Reservoir Dogs. But who directed True Romance? Scott? Ridley Scott?
Tony Scott.
Tony Scott. And all these years I've been going, man, I wish I could see the Quentin Tarantino version of True Romance. But I've come to the decision, no, I don't. I love that movie so much. Tony Scott crushed it. Yeah. But I found myself thinking about that today and going, man, I really wish someone else had directed this movie for him. Yeah, maybe like give the idea to someone else and let them do it.
Was getting really annoyed with all of his escapes. Like after he escapes there, he gets to his house. He's been made. The cops are coming to his house. He says to his daughter, he's like, hey, things are going to work out with the girls at school. Yeah. Hey, son, don't forget about your science project. Hey, wife, don't forget the people are coming to fix the heater next week. And then he goes into the garage with the car after just talking about how quickly carbon monoxide can kill someone. So I
thought for sure.
Like, he's going to off himself.
I thought for sure, yeah.
And I was like, that would be a pretty crazy ending. Like, he's basically admitting to it to everybody, and he's just like, all right, love you, bye. Yeah. But then he goes inside and there's a fucking trapdoor that has a fucking tunnel to the neighbor's house. Yeah. And then the SWAT team know that there's a serial killer that they just lost track of. And this SWAT team member is going to let somebody else randomly drive the pop star away. Yeah. Who he doesn't recognize. He's like, it's fine. I got it. And then he escaped that with a pile of clothes. Yeah. And I was like, I'm so sick of it. I was like, stop escaping.
Yeah. And he goes back home.
And then he goes home and he takes his shirt off and we don't know why. We do know why, kind of. He didn't want to make a mess.
I found your stash.
What did we feel about the Allison Pill revelation?
I think her whole the reveal.
Yeah, the fact that Allison Pill shows up 20 minutes before the end of the movie, and all of a sudden he's got a wife. But like, yeah, just that reveal. Because I thought she was going to be in it. I thought the reveal was going to be after the cops leave and he returns home.
Bodies in the basement.
I was like, yeah, she's part of it.
Somebody else brought this up, but I think that whole second half of the movie is why this movie's so messy, because the antagonist changes like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like 7 bad movies in one. Like the pop star becomes the central antagonist or protagonist. I guess he's the antagonist.
He's the antagonist. Yeah.
How you looking at it, who you want to win.
That's true, yeah.
She becomes the central protagonist, and then not anymore. Then it becomes his wife, and then but then the profiler, but then the wife again.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that these characters aren't even introduced until 3/4 through the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but they're also like half of them are weak because we don't even know them. Yeah. Like,
I also thought the profiler was going to be revealed to be his mom somehow. They kept talking about mom issues, and I'm like, I was going to be pissed if they did that. I'm like,
I'm glad they didn't do that.
I also too, I think like I am all for nepotism. I think it's great. Do it. Having the central plot around his daughter as a pop star is fine. Totally competent.
The songs are not bad.
No,
I remember being like, oh, these songs are pretty good.
They did a whole album and released it and stuff. Yeah,
good pop stuff. Yeah.
Too much. Like we literally take breaks from the movie to watch performances, and it's like that's a little much, but okay. But then she literally becomes a speaking role.
Yep.
For the duration of the movie. Yep. She becomes the main foil, and it's like
the protagonist.
It's not that good, and like it's just a little upsetting. In so much as like I think I said to you, I was like I think this should have been like a stunt casting.
You said to me, oh, could you imagine if they got an actor for that role?
I don't think I didn't mean it that mean sounding, but yeah, it's like
she's not. She's a pop star.
I think it would have been cool if it actually maybe was a pop star that also acts, or a stunt cast actor, or something like that too. Because it was a lot of heavy lifting for this first time person. I loved the idea of crowdsourcing.
Oh, that was great
on her live.
I did like that.
Such a good idea. Like, oh, hey, this movie's got some sauce. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then it just moves on to something else that was uninteresting. And like every time the movie had any kind of momentum or any kind of charm, it just like smacked that out of your eyes.
I also just want to say, the wife who suspected that her husband was a serial killer. If I were in that position, I don't think I'd send my daughter alone with him.
Right.
To a concert.
I would go to or something.
I would have called the cops sooner instead of trying to initiate.
Set a giant trap with 20,000 people.
By leaving a crumpled up receipt at possibly a crime scene, even though she had no evidence of a crime.
Yeah. And neither did they. The police have no evidence that it's a crime scene. They find a receipt and there's a call.
But there's the Filmcast guys brought this up. There's no ticket information on the receipt.
There's
no fucking seat information.
When they said that, I was like, there's no seat number on the ticket.
Why do they think it belongs to the killer too? It could have belonged to somebody that's dead now and can't go to the concert.
All good points.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. In the story, I thought what was going to happen in the beginning, because they get offered better seats by a scalper. So I thought, okay, maybe they know where he's going to be sitting, but he's going to get better seats. He's going to get 10th row seats from the scalper. And someone else is going to be in his seats.
That would have been a nice little thing.
I thought it was going to be something like that, and then he doesn't take the tickets from scalper, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's something else.
I wish they did that.
This was such a fun premise, and
why introduce the scalper?
And because why introduce half of the information that's in the beginning of the movie that doesn't have any kind of effect in the plot?
Man,
I thought he was going to like luck his way out of like not getting caught up.
So that would have been cat and mouse. That would have been
I thought it was going to be like
cool.
that. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
But he's gonna be like, I'll buy these tickets, or I'm gonna leave and go to the bathroom right when they're coming to search my seat. Or
the entire the reveal at the end it weakens the movie even more, because the entire concept of the whole fucking thing is so flimsy.
Yeah,
it's not even fun flimsy. It's just they put all those resources because they got an anonymous call and a half of a receipt.
Yeah.
They fabricated an entire...
But he's the butcher.
Do you know how many fake calls that 911 gets whenever there is someone out there who's trying to be caught? They get so much fake shit.
And again, I think that this is all forgivable if the movie was fun.
Yeah.
It's got spurts of fun.
Yeah.
But it's not fun.
In the wife's defense, because I just came for the wife, I will say, taking a big swing and accusing your husband of probably like 15 years or so of being a serial killer. That's not something you do unless you're 100% sure. So maybe that's why she's like, okay, maybe he isn't a serial killer. Yeah. maybe the concert and the police will reveal he's not the serial killer. But yeah.
Never mind. She doesn't know that he's the killer.
She thought he was having an affair.
Sets this trap.
Yeah, she thought he was having an affair. She followed him to the place. The place didn't have any murder scene, but she put it together with the news footage that they saw of one of the abductions.
Yes.
So she took that piece of information, had a nagging feeling, and then decided to leave the ticket receipt to see what's up and made a call. I think they might be going to this concert.
Right.
Okay.
Was anyone surprised at all that there was something in the pie he was eating?
No.
It was very clear, right?
Yeah.
We knew that there was something in that pie. Okay, cool.
I did like that scene in general just because Josh Hartnett was like, he was able to go full villain. There was only like two times in the movie he was able to go full villain. And the whole idea of this will take me 5 bites. I was counting his bites because that's narrative tension. He gave you the parameters of this conversation and you're like,
Kill Bill.
What's going to happen in the next, she's only got so much time. What's going to come out of her mouth? What's going to happen next? So like that sequence was great. Yeah. And then it just kind of went nowhere.
I would have grabbed the boiling hot teapot and just
bam.
And I get,
or so I say. I've never been in that scenario, guys.
Is this in the reality of splitting glass and shit?
Probably.
Because he takes 5 tasers.
Yeah. What was after being poisoned?
He's poisoned, takes like 5 tasers, and like veins pop out. He's just like fucking crazy. I'm like, this is a superhero shit.
You know what I did
out of nowhere? Maybe?
I'm still trying to decide if I like this or not. The fact
it's now your number one M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide if I like this element of the movie. We got to wrap it up. But like, what's her name? The pop star.
Lady Raven.
Lady Raven tries to do the Jason Voorhees, Mrs. Voorhees trick on him. Like, I'm going to pretend, like I'm right next to you. I'm going to pretend to be your mother because I know.
He falls for it a little bit. He's like, I'm not going to fall for this.
He doesn't. I don't think he does. He clearly is like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. And the fact that he calls that and then doesn't work. And he's like, all right, let's go. And then it happens later because he's drugged and tased. I'm trying to decide if I like that it actually worked the second time.
So
I think I do.
Because I was I wasn't engaged enough by just the movie. I was kind of like thinking of the logistics of the movie in real time as opposed to just like letting it wash over me.
Yeah.
When she started doing that in the car, all I thought about, I was like, this isn't going to work in this moment. That's fine. But all I thought about was old profile lady giving like PowerPoint presentations to staff, arena staff, and how fucking weird that probably was. And like, I just kept thinking of the dumb logistics possible for this scene to even happen because I was checked out of the scene. Like, and that just like, I can't get that out of my head because even the over the radio stuff of like, he will look like anyone else and he may think that like, hey, chatter.
I love
Keep
that.
it down.
I love that.
It's cool in general. You know what?
Silly.
I would have totally been okay with like her doing that as just voiceover that's disembodied. But like the practicality of the scene, it was just so weird.
Yeah.
I get more worked up about mediocre than I do about bad. I think there was so much cool that could have been, and that almost ticks me off more.
Something else I noticed, and also the other podcast brought it up, the Slash Film guys.
You should listen to Slash Filmcast.
They're great.
Just Filmcast. It's not Slash Film anymore.
Oh, it's true. Filmcast. It's great. He is so upset. Like, he is trying so hard to evade these cops because they're questioning people. And yet the whole movie is him being charming and making up lies on the fly and getting out of sticky situations by being charming and lying his way out of stuff. So why was he so terrified of being brought into a room to get questioned?
It wasn't. Didn't one of them say like, delete the app and walk through?
Yeah.
Like, okay. It's again. That's just
Did they have a photo of him?
No, they know he has a small animal tattoo somewhere.
He's a man in his 30s or 40s with a small animal tattoo.
I was wondering if there was like a really fuzzy I don't know if it was brought up. Like maybe there was,
and it's just him. A hand comes through it. Like yanking. It's nothing.
Oh, I don't remember. Oh, the van. Enhance. Okay.
Enhance.
All right.
It's.
Yeah, he could have just.
I don't think this was
lied his way through the thing.
Yoinked him.
Unless they pretended to be his mother, then he's fucked.
This is like that thing where it's just like, hey, if the central conflict is predicated on, hey, two people just don't want to talk at each other, and it all falls apart. The whole movie falls apart by just applying like an ounce of logic.
Yeah.
The whole thing, and it shouldn't be that House of Cards, man. This dude has made a dozen movies. And some of like the best genre movies, and this was nowhere near that.
I think what I said to you was, it's not a bad movie for a first-time director.
This is a bad TV movie. This isn't good. Yeah. It's also, you know what? Yes, it's ugly. It's not a good-looking movie. Like compared to Signs and Unbreakable and Sixth Sense, it is not a very good-looking movie.
Or The First Omen.
Or The First Omen.
You didn't like staring at Josh Hartnett in his weird POV, smiling at you.
Also, for a Taylor Swift style, like huge, the most boring-looking stage show.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
Like it's a fucking arena, screens, dancers, things. It's just like 2 tarps and then like 5 dancers. Like. This is an event that people are freaking out about.
I do love my favorite part of the movie, and I seem to have taken that with me, is the very last scene where he is getting out of his handcuffs and he is just delighting himself.
I was so annoyed.
He wasn't sure if he'd be able to get out of it or not, and it seems to be working. And then he's just kind of giggling to him. I love that performance.
The performance, yes. Yeah. But I was like that's like his third escape after the last 3 escapes. And I'm just like,
good at escaping.
They're arresting a fucking serial killer. Let him put the bike up.
Yeah.
I think that too.
Let him hug his daughter.
There's absolutely no way they would let him hug anybody.
They're smacking his head when they put him in they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But he's Josh Hartnett, so maybe
he's dreamy.
Maybe they let him.
Why, you know what? Why'd they make him put on a shirt? Movie falls apart.
Well, let us know what you thought of Trap by M. Night Shyamalan, and also
5 stars.
What's your favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie? Pink says Dark Knight Rises taught me that thousands of police can hide for months in a sewer. Movie cops are like Russian nesting dolls. Just go with it.
What did they eat down there?
Each other.
Rats.
There were double the cops when they got in there.
Killer Croc was feeding them.
I hate Dark Knight Rises, by the way. I hate that movie.
Again, I think that's 75%, 60% good.
20% good. 25.
It's my least favorite of the trilogy, which I think like a lot of people yeah.
Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later. Oh wait, no. No, never mind. I was gonna throw it to Alice, but you don't have anything right now. Tell them about your podcast.
Oh, listen to my other podcast if you want to, Inside the Morgue.
Not if you want to.
Do it.
It's on
Losers.
Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. You don't have to look at me. You can just listen to it because it's an audio only podcast.
What do you do on this podcast?
It's me and Jess, who are both forensic autopsy technicians. We watch crime dramas like Law and Order, CSI, NCIS, and a few other ones that I'd never heard of until we started doing the podcast, like Rosewood, which is nonsense, but fun nonsense.
I remember that show on Fox.
And we break down the entire episode. So if you don't want any spoilers for these, forewarned, we spoil the shit out of them. And we just rank how accurate they are. We give red flags, green flags for like things they do very, very wrong and things they do very, very right. And then we'll talk about whether or not the show is based on any true events that happened, and which a lot of them are, even though they always start with, this is not based on true events. They're always a little bit based on true events.
It's always written in the headlines.
We're a little behind now because Jess and I are both busy with working inside a morgue and also planning weddings because we're both getting married soon. So, yeah.
So check it out.
But yeah, check it out. We have, I think, 83 episodes.
I was going to say, there's backlog.
There's backlog. We also watched some scary movies like Autopsy of Jane Doe. We break down. There's a 2-parter. That's probably one of my favorite episodes.
Awesome.
That's one of my favorite episodes we ever did. It was so funny.
It was awesome.
I've never
seen
Autopsy of Jane Doe.
It's so
solid.
good.
It's solid.
I've heard.
Yeah.
It's way
solid.
better than Trap.
I know someone that was a behind the scenes forensic person on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I work with them.
Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're going to get the fuck out of here. Love you.
YUNKJunk!